Hey guys, what is up? We're back with another episode of our YouTube series where we're going through some of the awesome builds that we do every Tuesday on our Twitch channel down below with viewers. And guys, I'm super excited to show you these ones. These are some of the more complex builds I've done sort of in the more recent past few weeks. Hopefully you guys really like them. They're mostly steampunk and machine themed, I suppose. Again, guys, hopefully you guys get some inspiration from this. That was always the point. And yeah, let's just dive right in. I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. Obviously, if you like it, don't forget to drop a like, drop a follow, drop a sub, whatever it is, do that. Guys, let's just get right into it. See you in there. Okay, guys, so here we are for our first build. Now, I know some people have been wondering a little bit more about the materials. Like I said, I don't want to go into too much detail. Here's all the images here. You can just pause if you want to know what they are. If you have questions about what one particular item is, just let me know what, either what row, column, position it's in, and I'll happily come back to you in the comment section below. But these are all fairly common materials that you can find. I'd say the ones that might be a little more unique might be your living fire block, your sail, and maybe your gem spark blocks that we do use. So we use a block and we use a gem spark wall of amber color, but you can really use any color you want. This is just, again, preference, sort of keeping on theme. So these are the building materials. Let's just go and check out the build real quick, and I'll just point out some cool features, and then we'll move on to our next one. All right, guys, so here's our build. As I said, promised you some steampunk. This was pretty challenging to make, I will say that. Let me just give you a quick overview of the whole build here, and you guys can kind of see it all in its majesty and all its glory. This one took a little while, guys. I did in about a 4 or 5 hour session. I didn't really know what I was going to build when I started. I just know that I wanted a steampunk theme. So you can kind of see this is the balloon that's holding it up, and obviously down below we have an anchor to, when it eventually lands, some fans and motorized parts to keep it going. And this fin is one thing I really like the way it turned out. So guys, with a build like this, you don't need to go too crazy in terms of the design like this. Like, you don't have to make everything look machine based. But one of the things I thought was really cool about this was really just separating off the front room from the back room. Now, the back room here is really meant to be like underneath your living quarters for, whoever might be on the actual aircraft. Even underneath that is your engine room. And then here's kind of more your general small hall with a weird little bunk bed with a view. And then the front here is more meant to be, I was initially going to make this all storage, guys, but the idea was really just to keep it simple, open, and save me a bit of time. Now, one thing you'll notice is there's a lot of textures being used. So here, an interesting thing is for the windows, I used I used adamantite column for this part, and I just wrapped it around the windows. And I just put it into the background and painted it brown. And actually, I really like the way it looked, and it's something I think you can use for a lot of your steampunk builds. The fin, I really like the way this turned out because I was really struggling with the back end, and we just put some palm wood here, and obviously a couple of pieces of, these are the steampunk platforms if I'm not mistaken, some wood plank wall here, and then some sail, and I just really like the design. It really came out the way I wanted it to. Really surprised at how good it looks. And then we just kind of frame the whole thing in metal here in the plating. This is tin plating and some copper plating. This is some stone slab here to do these. I made all these the same. They're quite easy to make. And I really just like the way it turned out. So guys, if you really have any questions about anything about how I made this, like I said, I don't build with a plan, guys. I just start building and kind of see what happens, and I stream at the same time, so it takes me a little bit longer than maybe most people would require to make a build of this nature, but I was really happy with the way this one turned out, and I hope you guys like it as well. So with that in mind, guys, let's move on to our second build. All right, guys, so here we are at our second build. I know what you're thinking. Oh god, he built the ocean. Incorrect. We did not do that. What we did do, however, is use these materials to build ourselves, if you've guessed it already, yes, an underwater, sort of steampunk-ish lab base. I don't know what you'd call it. If you guys come up with a cool name, let me know, because I'm creative with builds, not with naming. So here are the materials you'll need, guys. Again, I can go over some of the unique stuff here. What's really unique in this build for me, because I don't use these often, was the chlorophyte brick wall, blue mossy wall, brown mossy wall, and some silly pink balloon. Everything else is pretty standard fare. You will need obviously quite a bit of gray paint as normal. I used a bit of brown paint as well, but everything else here is pretty standard fare for your steampunk builds. You could argue that maybe the meteorite brick here and there was also a bit unique. So again, guys, these are probably the 4 blocks I would qualify as being the most unique. And yeah, let's go check out the build. All right, guys, so just to the left, you'll see our build. Now, I started with obviously the design. I added this seaweed at the end. This is the brown mossy wall. I just like the way it looked. It looked like seaweed that you could kind of make. I'm sure you could make something more complex. I just like how I can make it, really scale it up and make it big. So here is kind of the main entrance where you come in. Obviously, we still want that water in there. Here you can see some of the chlorophyte wall I was talking about. We used that for the foundation as well. And I really wanted to come up with something that looked a little bit different than what my normal builds look like. And this one was tricky because I'm not sure exactly how you would go about going and putting a build together that looks really mechanical and maybe lab-based. It's something I'm still working on, but there's some elements I really like. And so again, we used the brown mossy wall here, unpainted, and it just really gave it kind of a cool feel. Like it was kind of organic, but looked a little bit like wallpaper. I liked it. I really like this little rail. This is something I've been trying to get a little bit better at. It's just simply just a Minecraft rail attached to some boreal beams. And then we have everywhere we had stairs, I wanted to kind of make them stand a bit. So we put the meteorite brick and a few little pieces of the platforms, the steampunk platforms. Other than that, guys, as you can see, we tried to make an engine room and some piping and connecting through and in front of some of that seaweed that we created. Making sort of like an air pump filtration system. I think there's a way to make this stand out more. These are all just pushed to the background with different variety of metal blocks. I believe this is the dye station that I put on top and some cog wall in the background. And yeah, it was really just a fun build to make. Some issues with lighting in terms I didn't like the lighting that I had. And we really tried to use some of the nautical themed stuff here and there and kind of give it a bit of a different like feel from just a straight clinical feel. So we want to get away from that. And yeah, so there's some cool elements. Like if you guys have any questions, again, let me know. There's a couple different walls and no real special techniques on this one. I just want to make everything look a bit different and noticeable and somewhat separate. I think you could really use a splash of color on this. You'd have to use it sparingly, but you could definitely do it. And everything else, guys, these kinds of things are just pipeworks. Is just, again, this is platinum brick connecting into some palladium column for the vertical components. And this is all you can all pass through. That's all, we use a lot of actuators as well. I do use a lot of actuators in my builds oftentimes. I don't always activate them, but I do have my builds are usually full of them. And down here, guys, is just kind of a storage leading into the sleeping quarters for the staff. And I try to make a little mirror. So this is the only place I really use the silly balloon. I just really like the way it turned out. Just a sink with a mirror. Not really any privacy, but you know what? What can you do? That's how it goes sometimes. We didn't plan out every room, which is something, guys, I do recommend when you're building. Do try to plan out rooms as best as you can because it will really help you with the design and also obviously the decoration and how you're going about it. So guys, that's pretty much it for this build. Let's move ourselves on to the third and final build. And again, guys, if you're enjoying the builds, obviously, please let me know. Leave a like or feel free to subscribe. I will be trying to do these with some regularity. And obviously, your feedback is super, super appreciated. So guys, on to the next build. All right, guys, so here we are again at the third and final build of the day. Now, this one is a big one. I was thinking of doing this one on its own because it's so big, but because the steampunk takes so long, I figured I'd give you an awesome view at some of the bigger things I've done. This is probably the biggest build I've done on this world, probably by a lot. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Here are the materials that we use, guys. Again, nothing too special. These are all pretty common. I really kind of kept the same sort of steampunk theme and materials. So cog wall, some iron fence, some lead fence, some tin plating, some copper plating, typical what you'd think of when you think of like that metal and wood characteristics that you typically find in your steampunk builds. Now, one thing with this area is I had to actually terraform it myself. I do not use any of the editing software, so T-Edit is not something that I've ever used. So I had to do this all block by block, so it took me a little while just to set the foundation. But we put some sandstone block and we painted that gray. I didn't include the paints here because there's a number of paints I use, so I wouldn't have had room. But basically, you're gonna need a lot of gray, a lot of brown. Just feel free to use other colors, but natural colors like gray and brown will be your friends. You could also use white if you wanted to. But again, guys, no real unique blocks. Maybe the lead brick wall in some places was unique, but it's not really a unique block in and of itself. So let's go check out the build. All right, guys, so here we are in the area, the top left corner of this area. Now, I know I framed it out. This was just for my own sake, so I had an area. Again, we are doing this on a server where we build with viewers. So I just sectioned this part off for myself to build in, kind of let you work in that area undisturbed a bit more. But also, with that in mind, guys, what we did on this build was we wanted to just create some islands and some mechanics. Now, I'll show you what this all looks like on the map here. So if you guys can see, this is the whole area. So we're just in the top left corner. We have all this over here. It's quite large. One of the things I'm most, where I started and what I'm most proud of is, terraforming, as I said, the area, and actually then adding all these really large gears to kind of make it look like it was powering some of the devices. So again, nothing crazy here. This is just a little small hut that I wanted to make just to add a floating island to add for some detail. Down here is the first big steampunk ship I ever made. Really happy with the way this turned out. Again, you can see the similar design as the first build. This one was first, and we obviously took some elements from this and applied it to the other one. But I really like the way this mahogany beam came across. It kind of has that feel like there should be sails up, even though it's a steampunk build. I just thought it was a really cool kind of element, and I made the obviously the whole piece of it go down deep into the foundations here of the ship. So it gives it some structure, makes it look a little bit bigger and more bold, and I thought it was a kind of a cool look. While these ones remained a thinner sort of metal, and you can walk through it all because it's all actuated. So the design was not planned out in advance, guys. I just kind of thought what a ship might look like, and then applied it to something that might be floating. So no unique blocks, guys, here. There's a fog machine just for some ambience for the little bathroom here with a tub. A lot of steampunk furniture, steampunk platforms, obviously. We could have done some cooler stuff with the stairs, but I'm still working on my building technique, guys. I still have, there's little techniques and tricks you can use for cool stairs and other things. So certainly that could have been applied here. I could have planned out the rooms better, but I just like the way it looks so far. It was the first attempt at it. Could have done some more with painting and other stuff, but I'm really happy with the way the rotors came out and the kind of the drive shaft and the engine room, and just a kind of compact engine room with some pipes coming out, a little refueling station down here, and obviously the sleeping quarters. Now, again, this is just the ship that's a bit different from the other one, which is more of an airship. This is more of a, I guess, I don't know what you'd call this, steampunk ship. Anyways, so guys, all this is done manually. I had to do this block by block. And like I said, what I'm really proud of is down here. These gears took me a really long time to make. I thought it'd be kind of a cool design without really knowing how exactly to put it together. There's a lot of things you could do to change this. We could obviously hammer these out and angle them. We could do all kinds of stuff, change the block materials. I just wanted to look kind of, you could tell it was a gear, but it wanted to be kind of messy. These drive shafts for the two main gears, I wanted to make them look quite large, connected into some other areas here. And kind of just making it all come through and down into the ground. This alone, guys, terraforming in this, the gearboxes sort of took me about a day and a half of just building on two separate occasions. And over here to the right, guys, we have this, my little elevator, my Hoik elevator. And this is where you have some, again, the gears are here now fueling up some of these stations. The idea was just to make it look like a bunch of mechanical units. So there's our Hoik elevator, it works fine. Here's a crane that we made. Again, I've done a couple cranes. This one should have been a bit thinner. It's a bit thick in the crane area there, but what can you do? A lot of moving cogwheels and parts, a fairly broad base, and a little engine sort of related room where it can be operated. So, and all over here, guys, is more kind of a living quarters, and I really wanted this to be kooky and different and all over the place, and I really like the way that it turned out in the design. But if I go back, I could change the colors and some of the elements. I would definitely do that now, but this is the beauty of building, guys, is that you will go and see different builds that you've done and realize, oh, what I should have done is this. Other than that, guys, the support here was just a sort of easy design of, this is just all the adamantite columns that I just kind of put in and angled. And then here we did just some plating to just separate it out a bit. So, and again, this is all actuated so you can go through. And then more of the same with the actual island and the wonderful fans that I kind of, once I made one, I made a bunch. I kept the same design. All right, guys, so that'll do it for our third build. I hope you guys enjoyed them so far. There will be more coming, guys, so please stay tuned. And if you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them down below and I will definitely get back to them. And that's it for me. All right, guys, so that'll do it for us. Again, I hope you really enjoyed the builds. There's a number of hours that went into that. Obviously, don't expect to make one build like that in one session. They do take some time. Granted, you could plan them out better. You could also just copy and paste that one somehow and just make it your own. You can change the colors. You know what I mean? The whole idea here, guys, is to get some inspiration, some ideas for some awesome Terraria builds in your own servers or with friends or in your own private worlds and maps that you have. So hopefully, guys, this is something that you guys have been enjoying. Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to make both my actual builds a bit better and my actual YouTube content better. So, guys, as always, I appreciate anyone who can drop a follow or subscribe or come check us out on Twitch. We'd love to have you. So, in the meantime, guys, keep building, keep having fun, and we'll see you soon. Peace.